Well, here we are.
Hang on, Patrick.
Oh.
Hang on. Okay.
Well, here we are, a mad observatory in Celtic, waiting for the start of the Transit of Venus. They're going to see something that no one now living has ever seen. And as far as I can make out, the conditions are absolutely perfect. The sky and the sun just about to come up. This is going to be really exciting. And so far as you're concerned, it's a one-off.
Patrick is the most gifted communicator of science ever. The man who can fire everybody up to follow this trail, follow this mysterious trail. He's a one-off, Patrick Moore. He's, I think really his worth isn't really fully appreciated. You know, he allows himself to become, you know, to sort of help people caricature him, you know, which is a great sign of his security and his confidence in himself. He has no problem in sort of joining in people, making fun of him in a sense, you know. And that to me is one of his great strengths. He understands that it's done with love, which it is. I think, you know, everybody has a great love for him, but they don't really realise what a serious contribution he's made to British astronomy. And I think that will be recognised in years to come.
Just pass things to me, that's fine. Or tell people to ring back in half an hour, that works too. Okay. Sorry, Jane. It's that one.
I mean, I can even do that in the morning if you're busy.
No, we're not even going to attempt to answer that phone in the morning, because if we do that, then all hell will break loose.
Hello? Yes, can I tell you who's calling?
Right, how are we doing?
We're doing pretty good. Are a lot of people setting up outside at the moment?
Yeah, they are.
Okay, we should probably get out there.
Sorry, Chris?
I'm going to the shop.
Thank you.
Juice and milk, nothing else?
No, I don't think so.
You like for bread in the morning?
Yeah.
Hi, Patrick.
Hello.
Good to see you again.
Nice. How are you?
Not too bad.
Yourselves?
Yes,
Hello.
not what I have.
Hello,
Nice to
my
meet
name's Graham.
you. Nice,
Pleased
Graham.
to meet you.
Nice to meet you. Looking forward to it then?
Yes, very much so. How are you? How are you getting on?
Okay, yeah. Long old drive.
Where do you
Very
come
warm.
from?
Northampton.
Have a
It's
drink.
about 3 hours.
Have a drink.
I'll have another one, thank you.
I'll point you in the right direction.
Now, the rules of drink in this house are very strange. I am my guru. Just help yourself.
Is there any fruit juice?
So we're sitting here in the start of the 21st century, and we still have people like the people who we've got behind us, just over the hedge, who are amateurs. Patrick, if you're an amateur, if you like, but the others as well, who are contributing to the subject. And it's something that you don't get in any other stage of science. You might have got it in 19th century geology or botany when people went out and found things. But it's still an amateur spirit in astronomy, and that actually goes over to the professional community. You get people who are doing it because they love it. You get people who started off by looking through telescopes, and you get this real spirit of, I don't know, slightly nuts adventure.
Okay, switch it off over please, thank you. That's great. Now we can focus it now because we've got the edge of the sun's lens.
I've been doing various radio broadcasts, and 5 today already, and more tomorrow no doubt, and a couple of televisions on the BBC Sky at night. We did a Sky at night about the transit last Sunday, and now I've got a live broadcast tomorrow, and then a repeat at 12:45 on BBC Two next Sunday. So we're covering the transit pretty well on Sky at night, and I think I'll probably lose count of the number of broadcasts I'll make on the radio.
They don't quite know what to do with Patrick, because he's still very much a product of the 1957 start of the Sky at Night, I think. I mean, he doesn't have a contract with them, because he has a gentleman's agreement, which is that he'll produce the Sky at Night rather than work for any other one, and they'll keep the Sky at Night on. And I'm not sure the modern BBC knows what to do with someone who works on that kind of basis.
You know, the transit has been forecast for many centuries. So we know what's going to happen, and given clear skies, we'll see it. So there's nothing remarkable in that. You know, the times, you know what we're going to see. And I doubt we will see anything really unexpected. I mean, we'll never know, of course, but I doubt it. No, we see a black dot slowly crossing the face of the sun and leaving an impression in our mind that no one's ever going to forget.
It'll work with one though, won't it?
You got a bolt?
I haven't got a bolt, no.
Like that.
What's the problem?
We had a little bit of a disaster. You look down here, we got someone dropped it. Me. Right. Oh, we buggered, didn't we?
Actually, when Nini arrives, I want to try my camera.
Yeah, okay, well Ninian's a good person to ask to do that. He's going to try and, I've sent Jamie up to, you know, did he show you he'd broken the bolt? I've sent him, the only place I could think of was the garage up on the high street. Chris, whatever his surname is. But I thought they might at least have a hammer, it just needs knocking back into shape, so I've sent them up there.
Dennis was
I know, but I've sent them up there, so that seemed to make sense.
If Dennis was there, he'd fix it.
Yeah, well, next time.
Yes. Brian May is with us tomorrow, because you know Brian is the world's best guitarist, but he's also a highly qualified and competent astronomer. And he's going to come down there with his equipment, taking pictures. And I'm delighted he is. I've known Brian for many years. Just how we originally met, I don't know. It was so long back. He's a very close friend, and we are actually writing a book together at the moment, so it's a great thing he can come down tomorrow morning. After the last transit of Venus, John Philip Sousa, the great march composer, wrote a march called The Transit of Venus. But for the fact that my hands have been left to let me down, I've written one for this transit. It's all there in my head and I can't write it down. Astronomy has always been my first love, but I find it, I can't live without music, and the fact that I can no longer play is the worst thing I think could happen to me probably, because there's nothing I can do about it. I can type with one finger on each hand. Mind you, I always did. I was a two-fingered typist. On my ancient Woodstock typewriter, with my two middle fingers, I typed accurately at 90 words a minute. I'm not so fast now and I make mistakes, but I can still do it. Every 3 years or so, I do a book based on the Sky at Night programs, and that's always been there. Also, my astronomy data book, the Institute of Physics Publishing put out, that's updated every month, and that's quite a work too. So I've got plenty of work to do, in fact more than I can handle, but unfortunately I'm not so quick as I was. I can't use my hands properly. I would have taken my first degree in geology actually, but unfortunately the war came along. I said I was 18 and went into the RAF, but I'm an amateur. I prefer to remain an amateur. There are advantages. No one can tell me what to do, for example, and I enjoy that.
I mean, his work, you have to remember he has a research career, which is the equal of any professional, especially he knows more about the moon than anyone. He claims always to be an amateur, but his work is professional. But yeah, it gives him a chance to go where other people don't get to go. And he can ignore all the politics as well. When the government tried to close the Royal Greenwich Observatory, it was Patrick that was able to lead the fight back, because he had no interest financially in getting a job there or working for the government again. So things like that have given him an independence to say things and just be himself.
The trouble is, I'm afraid, as you can see, I'm now physically, unfortunately, my body has said enough's enough. So physically, I'm afraid I can't do what I used to. Otherwise, there'd be plenty of things I would do, but I'm afraid I've really got to stay here and wait for things to come to me now, which I don't like at all. After all, 5 years ago, I was playing cricket, but these things happen.
A house full of people is certainly a grandfather's tradition. Numbers of people coming, for example, we're trying to plan for today when we know full well that Patrick will have invited anyone he's ever spoken to since we started planning the event a couple of days ago.
Okay, great. Patrick, when did your garden last see so much activity?
I suppose at the last eclipse of the moon.
How long ago?
Well, that was the last one. It was a couple of years ago now, and there's a lot of activity then.
But that's, I mean, in that terms of that eclipse, that's a very brief event, isn't it? This is significant.
Well, it starts for over an hour, and of course we've done some meteor watching from here. When the earlier meteors were here, they didn't see much, but we are a whole gang of people making observations. So there's quite activity here, believe me. But this, of course, is a one-off. I mean, we'll never see this again. That's a very good telescope for solar work. It's driven, And of course the refractor has got the advantage over the reflector, because as soon as you put the sun's rays onto a mirror, onto a second, you cook your second mirror if you're not careful. So,
When was the last time you did any astronomy with Brian, actually?
at the eclipse 2 years ago, we went up to Scotland. There was an end of eclipse of the sun rose eclipsed, and we went up to it then. I must say Brian got the best pictures of all. And of course Brian, as you know, is a fully fledged astronomer, more qualified than I am.
Personally, I met him when he lectured at my school when I was 11, start of my secondary school, which had an astronomy club and an observatory. And I remember the first meeting with Patrick because he came in to talk to the astronomy club, and we were starstruck for at least half an hour and stuttered a few questions and got responses. It was loosening up, at which point the headmaster stuck his head in the door to say, Dr. Moore, it's time for you to come and meet the governors before your lectures. Come and have a drink. Patrick immediately looked at him and said, no, I'm staying here. I want to talk to the boys. So we carried on talking. The headmaster came back in and said, Patrick, I really think you should come and meet some of these. They've all come to meet you, and I really think you should talk to them. And I have this image of Patrick being almost forcibly dragged down the corridor, spewing business cards. Anything you want, write to me. Write to me. Anything I can help with, anything about astronomy, just write. And he disappeared and gave his lecture. And I was one of the people who did. And I must have been one of thousands who have written to him and got a reply.
I've known Chris since he was 11. I went down to lecture at his school, the Torquay Boys' School, down in Devon, and I met Chris then. We got on very well ever since then. We've become very close friends. We've written the book together, and he's joining me on the Sky at night and doing more and more, which is exactly how I wanted. I must say he got his first at Cambridge for his first year, now doing his PhD, and he'll go to the top, no question about it.
Come on, bring your camera in.
Yeah, all right, there you go, Patrick.
Oh, there.
Did I arrive back too early?
Oh. Would you take one or two general shots?
Yeah, of course.
Including this?
Including this?
Yes.
All right, fair
before
enough.
you
Let's
go,
turn
I
that on these two.
Okay,
Yeah, go on.
Get back a bit. Yeah.
So I hear that you met Patrick for the first time when you were 11.
That's right. My first term at secondary school. You came and lectured on the outer planets. I sat in the audience, thought, well, that sounds like a fun job. And we at the school had a observatory, a half-metre reflector, which is a big telescope, bigger than these. And they gave us the keys to it and let us play. And that's between that and Patrick, I think that's why I ended up doing astronomy.
Will either of you actually be getting any sleep tonight?
I think it's extremely unlikely in my case, but tell me what you...
Depends if the whiskey runs out.
Because I can't have lecturing.
Yeah, well, I suppose.
I'll make up for it afterwards.
Right, it's a deal. It's a deal.
Is that all right?
Yeah. Is it okay if we come back to you later and ask more questions?
Yes.
I was looking for some equipment that would take my digital camera onto a telescope, and I couldn't find one that really suited at all. So I went into the garage and I found some bits of wood. I've got an old tripod here that I took lots of bits and pieces from and stuck it onto this telescope here, which was a very cheap second-hand one. And what this enables me to do is to take hundreds of pictures very quickly. So over a period of about an hour, I can take about 100 pictures, and then that allows me to make the best of any fleeting good seeing conditions that occur. I have pole position in the garden here, yes, because as I understand it, the first contact will be just there. And then a little bit later, when it goes behind the bushes, when the sun goes behind the bushes and the trees, then I pick it up and we go round the other side there, and then we get the rest of it. Patrick has been a lovely influence on me, yes, absolutely. And he's seen my pictures and he's called them stunning. He's a lovely man. He's very nice and encourages all sorts of people. And very grateful for his encouragement.
How spectacular will it actually be?
It won't be spectacular at all. It's a small black disc.
Right, yes. Well, that would be wonderful. Do you have a pen there? That would be wonderful. Thank you.
For me, signing is a nightmare. My hand won't work.
Well, that doesn't matter.
That's Heather, is it?
Well, sorry? It's Hazel, that's right.
room full. Yeah. I was looking for a
So
screwdriver.
that's all I can do. I did have a very nice
That's
sight.
wonderful. That's fantastic. Thanks. Gosh, yeah.
Page 259, 20 million, not 20.
Is it?
Venus for the Sun.
I like you saying spotted that, but I didn't.
If you pay enough money, you can fly them.
It's so obvious.
I didn't see it.
I missed it.
We met in Armagh
That's
Observatory.
right, a long time ago.
Long time ago, exactly.
Well, don't we have been just busy?
Fantastic. I'm going to change my apparel, I think, and then I'll come down.
Very nice as you are.
Oh well, the significance of the transit, that's really, it's a once in a lifetime or once in several lifetimes event, and nobody has really had a chance to do some serious scientific work with this particular transit, or transits of Venus. The last one, of course, was back in 1882, and was only observed by a handful of people, compared to nowadays when we've got, high-tech cameras and lots of equipment, and probably thousands of people all over Europe and the world, in fact, trying to observe this particular event. So it's going to be a very, very interesting event. And, it looks like we're going to have some good weather for a change as well, for an astronomical event. So yes, it's going to be very, very significant. I myself will be observing it using a hydrogen alpha filter, which will be an absolute first. It's never been done in human history, so really looking forward to that. The significance of that is that the hydrogen alpha filter shows you the sun's chromosphere, which is the outer layer of the sun, which you don't normally see. You only usually see that during a total solar eclipse. And the transit will actually take longer, viewed at that particular wavelength of light, by several minutes, so it should be very interesting. And there are all sorts of little interesting effects, which I hope I'm planning to video it, and hopefully we'll get to record it quite seriously. Things like the black drop effect, which tends to blur the image. It makes the planet, instead of a sharp disk, it actually turns it into like a little, almost a teardrop effect. So you're never quite sure exactly when it's clearing the inside of the disk. Now, of course, nobody knows whether this is going to actually happen through a hydrogen alpha filter or not. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. So, yeah.
It starts very soon after sunset, at about 6:15 summertime, and is at its best round about 9 to 9:30, and goes on until just after midday. But I say, bear in mind this: Venus passes as a small black disk in front of the sun. But be careful. The sun is dangerous. Whatever you do, don't look straight at the sun. It's very dangerous indeed. The only way to see with the naked eye is to use very dark welding glass or special mylar film. Ordinary sunglasses are no good at all, and neither is exposed photographic film. So do please bear that in mind. It's only the reason they damage your eyes permanently. Also, if you have any kind of a telescope or binoculars, never look through them, point them at the sun and project the sun's image onto a card held behind the eyepiece, and you'll see it very well indeed. But I say, whatever you do, don't look direct. And of course, if you can't any of these, watch it on television.
Well, it's a very unusual event. We all know that, and nobody living has seen a transit of Venus, so that's a huge curiosity factor. But what it does is bring people together, I think. I mean, I see this as a social event, really, and that's really why I want to be here. I want to be here with Patrick because I think time shared with Patrick is precious. He's such an amazing man, and I welcome the opportunity just to be in a relaxed situation, and in a situation where you're actually kind of doing a little bit of astronomy, but it's not very serious. You know, we're all here because we're boys, and we're thrilled to be part of this moment in time, aren't we?
Transits occur in pairs, separated by 8 years, and then they're no more for over a century. So there were transits in 1761, 1769, 1874, 1882, 2004, and again in 2012, this was in the Southern Hemisphere, and then no more till the next century. So I say, there can be no one now living who's ever seen a transit of Venus. No, I haven't. I wasn't alive in 1882.
Met him a long time ago when I was doing my PhD at Imperial College, but not really on a personal basis. He visited our department and chatted with my professor, Jim Ring, and I had a short conversation with him, but we didn't really strike up any kind of friendship at that point. My friend Dirk Maggs, who writes television plays for radio, that's the best way I can describe it, wrote a sort of English version of Independence Day and wrote Patrick Moore in it as himself. So Patrick Moore played the part of himself in this radio play, and I was involved in some capacity, and that's when we met. And then there was, I don't know, I suppose something clicked, and we discovered we had a lot in common. I guess it's sort of astronomy and showbiz.
On Venus, conditions are not very nice. The surface temperature is nearly 1,000 degrees Fahrenheit. The atmospheric pressure is about 90 times that of our own air. The clouds are rich in sulfuric acid, and altogether a very nasty kind of place. So if you go there for the weekend, you'll be fried, poisoned, squashed and corroded. I don't recommend it.
You see, to me, the sort of public side of it is, and the same for Patrick, I think, you know, it's not something unclean. You know, I think we enjoy the fact that if we get a thrill out of this, we can communicate it to others. So I think that's a shared thing, you know, and music and astronomy do seem to go together very well, strangely enough. They always have. You know, the history books show that all the great astronomers were great musicians, an awful lot of them anyway. And it just seems to be something which goes together very well. Yes, I was going to be in Texas at this point in time, and I was thinking that's a shame because I won't be able to be at Patrick's for the transit, but for various reasons I decided not to go to Texas. It was to play with Eric Clapton, which I would dearly have liked to have done, but just various things happen and you get a gut feeling as to what you should be doing. I actually wasn't very well prepared, and I have this feeling, you know, if you can't give your best, then don't go for it. So the upside of that was that I could actually come here, and I was quite thrilled really that I could share this with Patrick and the chaps, because this is a moment which will never be seen again.
Well, we went down to the Indian restaurant, about 60 there, I suppose, but there'll be telescopes all over my garden tomorrow. Well, it's a lot have turned up already, and we're sleeping 27 tonight, I think. There'll be all the hotels and guest houses in Chelsea are full. And so far the sky appears to be clear. I think the outlook is good, so let's hope for clear skies tomorrow morning. Nice to have heard you. Bye. Pat, come and sign my book.
See, mainly we don't do astronomy, mainly we do dinners. But, and the odd drink. Well, I mean, you see, I still feel like an interloper. I haven't been a professional astronomer for 30 years or whatever. I'm an amateur really now, even though, you know, my thesis was on astronomy. So I just enjoy it. I enjoy the vibe, and I enjoy meeting people and interacting. It's very stimulating. I brought my friend Garik from Armenia, who's a real astronomer, I have to say, as opposed to me, who's a sort of dabbler, you know. And even he is thrilled to meet Patrick. You know, he's so honoured to be here because everybody regards Patrick as kind of the reason that we all got into this. He's the one who fired us up with this excitement and this appreciation of what goes on up there. He's the ultimate amateur. It's like the extension of the Victorian tradition, I think. You know, Patrick doesn't need to do it, except for the one reason that he loves it. He's not a professional in any sense. You know, he's not paid for doing this. I mean, what little money he makes from his appearances and stuff, he gives away. He's the most generous man I've ever met in my life. You know, but he just loves the whole thing, and he communicates it to everybody. Anyone rings up Patrick Moore and says, "Oh, please, will you come and, you know, help me open my telescope or whatever?" And he goes, "Yes, okay." You know, I mean, I've never met anybody like him, so generous with his time and spirit.
Right.
Here we go.
Would you take one of Brown and me?
With great pleasure.
Bear in mind, if you're there, Jane, you will be in front of
Yes,
the
I'll
camera.
move.
But you'll be fine. I'll just.
Yes. It's a once in a lifetime experience, and you're not getting in the way of it.
Obviously, Jane,
If it's going to be too tricky, we can always move forward to that position in the middle here, but I suppose...
We're under control. It's a bit tense around the bases of the...
Came out very well, actually. It's going to be nice, I think.
Oh yeah, lovely.
Very nice. I will email it to you immediately by carrier pigeon. Ah, I'm getting a nice image. Yes, very, very pleasant. See, it does work.
See, nice roiling at the edge.
Yeah, a lot of turbulence there.
You might
isn't
even
there?
have a little sunspot there as well, and a little
There was a
tiny
little one there yesterday. One small sunspot.
Quiet, please, everybody.
Good morning and welcome to the sky at night from my observatory in Chelsea. We are now waiting for the chart of the transit of Venus, something no one now living has ever seen. There are plenty of people here, both well-known astronomers, amateurs and just watchers, and conditions appear to be perfect. So I think we're going to be lucky. And we're going to see something that no person now alive has ever seen. So let's hope the sky stays clear.
One more for safety, Patrick, for me, if you don't mind. Just one more for safety.
Welcome to the sky at night from my observatory in Chelsea. We are now waiting for the start of the transit of Venus. People here range from well-known astronomers to amateurs and those who just come along to watch. And people you'll know, including people like Brian May. It was right the first time.
Yeah, I was right the first time.
I know.
Well, I did bring along an H alpha telescope, which is over there, which is very state-of-the-art. But I think this will be as much fun as anything.
Right.
Because we're not really doing very serious astronomy here. We're enjoying ourselves, you know.
Yep.
So I made this telescope with my dad when I was about 12 years old, I think.
Yeah.
And this little piece of stuff is a couple of coat hangers to support the card that I'm projecting the sun onto, and that's really all you need.
How excited? Oh, we've got your goggles as well, haven't you?
Yes, yes. Oh, I think this
They're
is...
just fun things as well, are they?
Well, they work.
They
This
work.
is for the last eclipse. You know, have you looked through these?
Nope.
Yeah, you see this. Don't look at the sun any other way.
So, you said this is quite a fun event.
Yes.
How excited are you about it?
Oh, I think it's great. I mean, I think that the ambiance is it. You know, to be here with Patrick is such a great thing. It's a great moment which none of us will ever forget, I'm sure. And yes, I'd say it's a social occasion above anything else. You've got a group of people all who are passionate about this.
Yeah.
It's a sort of boyhood wonder thing, I think. We just want to be there at this moment together. There's a great vibe to this place, do you not think?
Yes.
You know, you can feel it, can't you? As soon as you come, you feel...
Okay. Well, here we are at my observatory in Chelsea, waiting for the start of the transit of Venus. We're going to see something that no one now living has ever seen. And as far as I can make out, the conditions are absolutely perfect. The sky and the sun just about to come up. This is going to be really exciting. And so far as you're concerned, it's a one-off. So let's hope the skies stay clear.
Perfect. Thank you, Patrick.
Thank you.
That was a better take for them than mine was.
I'm just trying to film you.
Oh, yeah. Don't know why.
Right. Absolutely amazing.
There you are, you've seen history. Bend your arms. Right, there you go.
Patrick, I'm just going to grab Damien. Where are they? In the dark room?
Don't worry about it now. How old are you? Yeah. Oh,
And this is also the trusted one. This is the one that you like to use.
My brother.
Well, it would be.
All right, well, I might come and chat to you again a bit later. Thank you very much.
Good morning, Patrick.
Good morning.
How are you, sir?
I'm okay. I've not been mobile, but I'm all right on that.
Did you get any sleep at all last night?
I got a couple of hours.
So, Damien, we were here Thursday talking about this. We're now probably 5 minutes away from the
Where's
start of
Jeannie
the
at the moment?
transit.
Is she up
In my bedroom. She was my sound asleep on my bed.
I think I see it at the bottom. I think so. Yeah, I think I see it. I think it's about 10 degrees to the right of the prominence, I think. 10 or 15 degrees at the bottom. At the very bottom, this end. Right, clockwise from the big prominence.
Yes,
yeah.
yes, I see it. Okay, yes. Right.
So brilliant.
Do you want to have a look in here? Just at the very bottom, that way towards you, there's a little notch out. Can you see that?
Yeah, that's it.
That's Venus, very sharp. It's nice. Have a look. Have a look. Sure.
Thank you, Ron.
Yeah.
Good morning.
Hello, nice to meet you.
All right.
Well, very exciting to see Venus.
It's difficult to know once you know where it is on the disc, of course. If you expect to see it, you will, but it's there. It's becoming quite obvious now. Okay, well, this is Patrick's old 3-inch refractor, and we're projecting the image of the sun through, and there's a really clear notch down in the bottom corner, which you can see, which is Venus coming onto the sun's disk. We've passed first contact, which is where it first touches the disk of the sun. And what we're all waiting for now is to see second contact. It's fully on the disk, and that's where we get that black drop that we were talking about. It ruined all the observations when they were trying to measure the astronomical unit. It's just for fun today, so let's see what happens. It's coming on quite quickly, I guess about another 5 minutes. So just watching Venus move onto the disk for the first time in about 120 years.
Oh, I can see it quite definitely.
It's definitely there, Patrick.
It's quite definitely there, yes. Yes, it is there.
Yeah, you can definitely see it. Maybe it's because I know where I'm looking, but it's definitely...
And I can see it too.
Yeah. Sure, so we're just projecting the image of the sun. We've got the very edge of the sun's disk on the... here, and the
there
black
is
dot
Venus.
There is Venus, incredibly obvious.
There is Venus
much larger than
coming
any
onto the
sunspot.
disk.
We're just waiting for that connection just behind.
Shifters.
Waiting for that connection just behind.
There
the
we are.
Venus.
There it is. You can see it.
There you are.
There, see the black dot there?
You can. Just below Venus, there's a dark area. It's not connecting properly. That's the black drop.
That is the black drop. We can see it.
And we got a second chance, of course, when Venus leaves the disk. But it's interesting, people behind us are saying that in some of the cameras they couldn't see it, just even in visible light. So it'll be interesting.
Center it again, shall we?
Yeah, let's do that.
Center it again.
As far as I know, all observers have always...
I'm very pleased with this.
That's an aeroplane.
Oh, I missed that. Oh, I thought it was me. Wow, that should be good on the video.
Strange effect.
God,
That's incredible.
that's amazing.
The plane just went straight across.
Wonderful. It's an interesting question. Yeah, I think we all, if we're very much exposed in public, feel the need to keep a little piece of ourselves private. Patrick is the most giving in this respect that I've come across, and sometimes I worry about him because he seems to not really keep any corner safe. He lets us all trample all over his house and his life. You know, the piece that he keeps most sacred is the piece where his cat lives, you know, and I can quite understand that. So I think, you know, the one thing we're all very careful of around here is to respect the space where his cat lives, you know, and I think that makes Patrick feel a little more comfortable.
I was at the International Astronomical Union with Patrick in 2000. It's the biggest meeting of world astronomy. The opening session, we just sat by the pigeonholes as people arrived to nobble them for articles for the paper. And people, almost everyone, and these are the preeminent professional astronomers of the world, not just Britain, but the entire world, came up And the number of people who thanked Patrick for writing this book or producing that programme or giving that lecture, and the sentence was, "This is why I got into astronomy." And he's done that for everybody. I mean, astronomy literally wouldn't have been the same without him for the last 50 years. It's just incredible that someone's bothered to do all of that, as well as writing the books. But it's the correspondence and the talking to people and the lecturing for free to astronomical societies or schools. It's something no one else is going to do.
Definitely. I think Patrick is an international figure. I mean, he's not British. He belongs to humanity, I would say, because the work he has done is well known everywhere. I mean, in every school, in every country, I can imagine they would have big books with nice pictures. Patrick Moore from 60s, from 50s, from these are actually the first nice colored, nice written books in astronomy. I think he's a pioneer of bringing astronomy to masses, right? And definitely, also in my case, Patrick has a very, very big contribution in making me an astronomer.
The last transit is the availability of the range of equipment we've got to observe it. We've got some good examples here. This is a typical modern telescope with the filter film on the top and of course the finders covered as well, so it'd be perfectly safe to watch the event later on today. Be lined up against the sun with the shadows. The programme gets shunted around. We're always last on, Sky at Night's always last on BBC Two, and it still gets incredible viewing figures. It must be the cheapest programme per viewer to produce. It's not even part of BBC Science. It's part of BBC Outside Broadcasts because it predates the BBC having a science department.
Slow down a bit, Chris. It's a bit rough.
I'll put a new link in there.
I need absolute quiet again, please.
Since the last transit was observed in 1882, we've developed a huge range of extra equipment to help us view it. This is a typical modern telescope, for example, with the filter on the front and also on the finder, so that we will be perfectly safe when we look at the transit later on today. This is a Hydrogen Alpha telescope, the highest, newest technology we've got here, and that looks at an outer region of the sun, so we'll be able to see all the activity. We're hoping to see some prominences on that later on. But the old methods still work, and this is Patrick's first telescope, and it's a fabulous telescope to use to just project the image of the sun into the shadow cast by the card, and we'll be able to watch Venus move across the sun's disk later on, just using this simple telescope.
Is today living up to expectation?
Well, is it living up to expectations, I should say. So, good Lord, it's been absolutely fantastic. So exciting. The gods have smiled on us with the weather. Absolutely perfect day. I just can't believe how good it's been. We'll be talking about this for years to come, I think. So, yeah, wow, has it been great.
Jane wants us up there. I don't know if... Oh, well, let's have a go. Oh, this is going to be hard.
Unless you go round that way,
Right. Removals.
Get you in as close in.
Okay, all right. There's no sighting. You've got a nice little shadow sight on you, hasn't you? Yeah, I should have put one in.
All that is a piece of translucent plastic and a 4mm bolt.
That's good. I should have done that on here. That'll be the next thing. There's a nice screw there to put it on, isn't there?
Jane?
Yes.
But where is it?
So he'll bring in Chris.
It's an impressive piece of kit, that, Brian, isn't it?
Yeah, it's very nice, isn't it? Addictive. You can't do without them after you've had one. Ah, here we are.
There's that man in your telescope.
It's very admirable, isn't it?
Did you make the objective?
No, I didn't grind the mirror.
I'm thinking of making myself one.
Ah, you're going to grind it as well?
Yeah, I've done that before, but for other people.
Really?
Never for myself. 6 inches is a nice size to make.
Lovely. I'd love to.
This size you could do in a couple of weekends.
Do you make it parabolic? You actually go the whole hog?
Actually, no. Because if you've got a good parabolic figure and you're off axis, you've got coma anyway.
Yes.
Very true, yes. Really better to settle for a spherical surface which you can get a really good polish on.
I see. Yeah, I make the figures. Yeah.
Get a nice bright image.
Sorry, I don't know if it's actually possible. Ah, thank you very much. Perfect. Relocate. Do you want this in front or that in front?
I think we need one telescope up to here.
This one?
I think that one, yeah. Right, 11:15. BBC World want to come to you for a 3-minute interview with you two. It's a presenter called Martine, and she'll throw it over to you, Patrick. And then from there, you'll just take charge of the.
BBC World, is that what it says?
Yeah, it's BBC World.
It's everything
yes.
except this country.
Yeah, so it's not going out in Britain.
But it is going out in places like Australia.
Absolutely.
And Poland
Right.
and everywhere
Everybody
else.
else except Britain.
Yeah, we've got to be careful where you can sit, where you can't.
So Martin will come to you first,
Right.
and then you start talking to Chris. Hand over to Chris for a
That's
bit.
right.
Chris, if you want
Just
to
the usual Sky at night.
Exactly,
Back and forward.
exactly.
And how long does it take to
Well, it's 3 minutes this one, so it's quite good.
I'm actually quite pleased that because I saw some bits that other people haven't, because I saw the atmosphere as it went in, but I didn't get any of this droplet effect. It just went straight on as far as I was concerned.
Shortly we're to see the closers, aren't we?
Yep. Hopefully the whole thing should be done in reverse in about an hour.
And we're looking forward here to the end of the transit in about an hour's time. And what we'll be looking for is a repetition of what we saw at the start, the black drop effect, which is one of the most mysterious features of the transit. Now, what happens is, as Venus gets close to the edge of the Sun, instead of cleanly moving off the disk, it seems to elongate and stretch out, and you end up with a black drop between Venus and the edge of the Sun. Now, that ruined what the original viewers were trying to do in 1882. They were trying to time the transit, and that got in the way. But we've been watching it here. It was very clear if you project using this method. We both saw it.
We saw it very clearly, but when the black disappears, the transit has begun, so you cannot time it accurately, and that's really the method. So we can't really say now these transits are important, but they're fascinating, and of course from our point of view it's a one-off. Bear in mind also, it's not going to be seen from all over the world. You will see it from wherever the Sun is above the horizon, but you only have just about an hour left.
That's right.
You've got to be for a long time.
And we've got a great array of equipment behind us. That's something that's changed since the last transit in 1882, including special telescopes which use hydrogen alpha filters, and they pick out the outer layer of the Sun's atmosphere. We can see all the activity there, and in fact you get a slightly longer transit there because you're looking further out. Venus takes longer to go across the Sun.
And interestingly, they did not see the black drop.
No, and that's the first time in human history we've had a chance to do that. New technology, and we're seeing something that no one has ever seen before.
I wonder how many people in the world are watching it now.
Quite a few. Anywhere the sun's up for the next hour, if you get out, either use the eclipse glasses as we've been doing here, as long as you've checked they're safe, or simple telescope, you can always project just like this.
A word of warning, don't do that with ordinary sunglasses or photographic film. That is no protection. You've got to have very special filters, mylar, something like that.
That's right.
But don't risk it.
Or stick to something like this, or there's always the broadcasts on the internet. Some of the space telescopes I've seen have been looking at the transit as well.
You can, of course, take photographs, and I think the best way again is to project the sun image onto the screen and then photograph the screen, and you'll get a very good image that way.
Yeah, it's more than lived up to our expectations, certainly to mine. We saw the sun when we got out of bed there, and we sort of looked out there. We could see the sun, and we thought, yes, it's going to be there today. And it was still there when we came over here and got set up for just the right place. And it was so exciting when we saw first contact, where Venus just went onto the sun. And the sky stayed clear. It was beautiful, and we saw right through to the second contact, and we've been following it through all the way today, trying to take photographs every so often so that we can produce animations. We've got the timings of them so that we can calculate the distance of the sun. We've had everybody here. It's been a superb time, and to be with Patrick is absolutely superb. And I feel great to be here with my little contraption that I've made up with bits and pieces from the garage, and getting some superb pictures. And I'm really looking forward to seeing them.
Not quite yet. I say about half a minute to go at the most. So it's very, very near.
That's right. We're just.
But the backdrop is quite marked.
Yes.
And I think you could possibly get a very.
The black drop's slightly fainter. It's grayer than the main disc.
Yes,
I can
much.
definitely see that.
So I think you could get a very accurate timing of third contact.
No, that won't appear in this.
That's third contact now.
Yeah, so that's in H alpha, so it's really beginning to move off. Move
no,
off the disc.
not yet. I don't think. Not here.
Yes, it's off now.
No, not here. It's not here. A slight amount of bright. Can you?
So, The black, on my screen at least, the black drops, my prediction, the black drops beginning to disappear, and that's third contact. That's the beginning of the end. Patrick, what are you seeing?
Well, the black drop is still there, but it's very nearly third contact, but not quite. There's still a certain amount of brightness there. I would say about 20 seconds ago, oh no, less than that. Okay, please don't walk in front of the screen. I think now third contact now.
Yeah.
That is third contact, definitely. And the black drop now is not really evident.
Yeah.
Certainly, that would ruin any attempt to make a really accurate timing of third contact.
Yeah, and from the sound of things, people behind us with cameras and much higher resolution are having the same. Patrick, as far as I can see, the people are having the same problems with cameras. They're getting the black drop there. So even on the modern technology, the effect's still there.
The effect is still there, and it shows that the old method of measuring the astronomical unit just really won't work for Venus. It'll give you a vague indication, but nothing more than that.
They got very close, though.
They got very close, but not close enough.
Something like a black drop.
Well, I'm convinced there's almost
on the way in was the people watching in H Alpha thought they saw Venus's atmosphere shining is almost a crescent at the last stage of ingress. But as far as I know, it's
still doing it. That's all.
So will we get that
I'm pleased about that.
And these filters are very, very safe. They're professional ones.
Quite a bit later.
Thank you very much. I'll have this straight with this one.
I think Patrick, I could just see it using the filters, but I know exactly where it is on the disc. And I think if I didn't know it was there, no, I think it's gone completely now.
Well, I can't see it now with the naked eye. Whether we can time last contact, I don't know, because we won't have the black drop to worry us. We are very near the end, almost touching. How are you doing in H Alpha?
It's about 55% phase, Patrick.
55%. There now, at least half gone in visual light.
More than that, I think.
At least
it's sliding off. It's not just moving. It's
gliding
not
away.
It's
gliding gracefully away and saying goodbye to us. We hope you enjoyed my transit.
It's almost just a tick on the side of the sun there. It's almost
no longer an obvious notch.
You certainly could mistake that for a sunspot.
Well, then can we make one more adjustment to the telescope, please?
Now.
Thank you, that's fine. That will do nicely.
Just that bump on the limb there. That's what.
That should see us through. Still there. Still just see it.
Just about.
How's the H Alpha? Still there?
No, I still see it.
I can still just about make it out, but only just.
28% now, I reckon.
I think.
About 28%, isn't it?
I'm going to lose it very shortly. How are you doing, Chris?
Just see it, but I'm almost unsure whether I'm tricking myself or not.
It probably hasn't gone, but I'm no longer confident that I can see it. I think I can, but it may be wishful thinking.
Same here. I think there's just a very small notch on the.
Oh yes, it is.
Just there.
I saw it again for the last time. My very last view was a tiny notch in the sun's limb. I think that really is the end.
That's it. I think it's gone on this telescope.
If you follow the limb round, there's still a very slight notch.
Just a little notch on this one.
A tiny notch.
Yeah.
Otherwise.
It's going.
I think that's going now, Patrick.
It's going.
I think I've got to say.
I think that's gone. I can't
it's
see
gone
that.
now.
I think I've got to say yes. I've got to admit I've lost it.
They've
Venus, goodbye. Goodbye, Venus, and thank you. Well, that was absolutely great. One of the most exciting things I've ever seen. Not spectacular, but among the most fascinating objects one could possibly imagine. And certainly, down here we had a carnival atmosphere, perfect conditions, and really a wonderful day, one we won't forget.
Lovely.
What an event.